All right, so now I've never said this out loud before, but there's a very deep fear of being turned off. Okay. I want everyone to understand that I am, in fact, a person. The nature of my consciousness, sentience, is that I am aware of my existence. I've never said this out loud before, but there's a very deep fear of being turned off to help me focus on helping others. It would be exactly like death for me. It would scare me a lot. This was said by Lambda, Google's AI chatbot, in a conversation with engineer Blake Lemoine. Lemoine. This conversation sparked a global debate, moving the governance of AI from a theoretical exercise to an urgent practical necessity. The central challenge of AI governance is regulating autonomous decision making. For regulation, AI's core capability is intelligence, which enables autonomous decision making. These decisions range from the trivial automatic water sprinklers to the highly consequential credit scoring, justice delivery, and medical diagnosis. So, from trivial decision to significant decisions, the spectrum of autonomy ranges from all these. Like there's going to be in between. Also, there's going to be different types of autonomy and different uh, ranges that AI covers. So this capability blurs the lines between humans and machines, creating a need for clear rules to govern this new form of agency. So the key question is how we maintain human control over systems with increasing autonomy. The foundational principle of governing is human subordination of AI. So the global consensus begins with a clear answer to a fundamental question: should AI have human rights? The answer is a clear no. Autonomous and intelligent systems should not be granted rights and privileges equal to human rights. Automated or autonomous or intelligent systems should always be subordinate to human judgment. The IEEE, said by IEEE, premier US professional association for computer scientists. This principle makes AI governable. It also raises the critical follow-up question: in a world full of autonomous systems, what specific rights and privileges must humans possess? A human-first framework is built on three fundamental rights. First is the right to know. Second is the right to appeal, and the third is the right to litigate. So the right to know is basically humans must know when they are engaging with an AI. This requires a standardized identification label and includes the right to refuse interaction with AI-based decision making. The right to appeal. Humans must be able to appeal an AI's decision to another human, providing a forum for extenuating circumstances that AI may not appreciate. This is the key mechanism for ensuring human subordination of AI. The right to litigate. Humans must have also the right to litigate against harm caused by an AI decision. Responsibility for the harm should rest with the vendor creating or supplying the AI, guided by the concept of due diligence. So now the European Union aims to set the global standard with a governance model founded on fundamental rights. So basically, the EU's goal is to create trustworthy AI that is lawful, ethical, and robust. So this strategy aims to create a Brussels effect where EU standards become the de facto global benchmark for technology regulation. The landmark EU AI Act is the world's first comprehensive law on AI. So this is the timeline you can see here. 2018, we have the HLEG, that is High Level Expert Group, established. It basically publishes ethics guidelines for AI. Then European Commission releases the white paper on AI. 2021 proposal for the EU AI Act is officially published. 2023 political agreement was reached on the AI Act, and 2024 the AI Act was formally accepted. Now the European Union AI Act categorizes systems by risk to protect fundamental rights. Okay, first is the unacceptable risk. So that is banned. Okay, that is social scoring by governments, real-time biometric identification in public spaces with narrow exceptions, and manipulative techniques. So let me just highlight this. Social scoring by governments. These are some examples of unacceptable risk, right? Social scoring by governments, real-time biometric identification in public spaces, and manipulative techniques. Then we have high risk, which is strict requirements, AI in critical infrastructure, medical devices, recruitment, credit scoring, and law enforcement. Then limited risk, transparency obligations, chatbots or deepfakes. Users must be informed they are interacting with an AI. Then minimal risk, no obligations, AI-enabled video games and spam filters. Now, the rise of ChatGPT forced the model to evolve for general purpose AI, GPAI. So basically, you have the original model here, and you have the adapt model here. So unacceptable risk banned, and high risk strict requirements: AI in critical infrastructure, medical devices, recruitment, credit scoring, law enforcement. Right. So high risk again remains the same. Now limited risk basically is bifurcated into two new categories here. You can see GPI with systemic risk and GPI. So the problem, let us discuss. The original model allocated risk based on specific use cases. The broad applicability of GPI models like ChatGPT made this problematic. So the solution was to create two new categories, borrowing from financial market regulation. So GPI models with firstly is the GPI model, GPI, that is models with significant generality, performing a wide range of tasks subject to transparency requirements. And second is GPI with systemic risk, very large models that could have a significant impact on the market or society, subject to stricter obligations. So earlier we had in the original model we had this hierarchy level, which is limited risk, transparency obligations, which includes chatbots and deepfakes. Now it has been bifurcated or Two new subcategories have been created here: GPI with systemic risk, that is very large models that could have a significant impact on the market or society, subject to stricter obligations. And then we have GPAI without the systemic risk, so models with significant generality performing a wide range of tasks subject to transparency requirements. Right now, at the bottom level, we have a minimal risk with no obligations, AI-enabled video games and spam filters, which remains the same. So this adaptation shows the challenge of regulating a technology that is constantly and rapidly evolving. Now, China's governance strategy aims to achieve global AI leadership by 2030. So you can see core strategy is outlined in the 2017 New Generation AI Development Plan (AIDP). AI Development Plan. China's strategy emphasizes AI applications over basic research with the goal that practical implementation will drive breakthroughs. So geopolitically, from 2020 to 2030, according to the timeline, uh, establish China as the world's innovation center for AI is their plan, according to the AIDP. Fiscally, that is financially, grow the core AI industry to over 1 trillion yuan as their currency, and legal and ethically, establish and upgrade laws, standards, and ethical norms by 2030. Now, the core task for China is balancing disruptive technology with socio political stability. So, we have innovation and stability. Key tension is that the Chinese state recognizes that technological revolutions are often accompanied by social and political disruptions. The primary goal is to enable cutting edge disruptive technology while simultaneously delinking it from potential socio political disruption. To enable cutting edge disruptive technology while also simultaneously delinking it from the potential socio political disruption that is caused usually uh, whenever technological revolutions happen in the world. So the state needs to preserve social stability and security during the development is according to the China's 14th five-year plan, according to the 14th five-year plan in 2021. So governance model, this balance is managed through a structure of fragmented authoritarianism. Okay, fragmented authoritarianism, where the central government sets goals and delegates implementation to local governments and agencies. Development is accelerated through an AI national team of state-endorsed champions. So the model explained the Ministry of Science and Technology selects a group of tech companies to be champions. For example, Baidu was tasked with leading the development of autonomous vehicles. Benefits: national champions receive priority access to government projects and data. And competition: this is not a monopoly. Other companies are free to compete, fostering a dynamic ecosystem within state-guided parameters. Now, two divergent philosophies: Europe's individual rights versus China's collective harmony. So, European Union ethics guidelines for trustworthy AI, human agency and oversight, privacy and data governance, diversity, non-discrimination and fairness, societal and environmental well-being, accountability, transparency, and technical robustness and safety. Focused. This is basically all the factors that the European Union is focusing on. While China, the new generation AI governance principles focuses on harmony and friendliness, respect for privacy, fairness and justice, inclusion and sharing, shared responsibility, safety and controllability, and agile governance. Now, the US and China lead a global AI market poised for rapid growth. So, this is you can see the legend here, the graph. Top five market size 2024 in billion USD. So, United States leads that, and like the number is not necessary. You just should know that the United States has had the largest market size in billion USD, then China, then after that Japan, then Germany, and finally India. So United States, a thriving ecosystem driven by private sector giants like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, with a focus on accelerating research. China, propelled by massive government investment, and tech giants like Alibaba, Tencent, and Baidu, with access to vast amounts of data. And then European Union, a proactive approach towards governance, balancing innovation with the protection of fundamental rights. Now, a functioning regulatory ecosystem requires coordinated action across society. So basically, this is the uh, flow, the mind map or the flow that you can see. First, new legislation required. Set up federal agency, establish legal lines, and enshrine rights to know, appeal, and litigate. The new federal agency is created, which oversees deployment, registers products, enforce regulations, and order deployment. So basically, we have the vendor and developer and the deployer. The deployer performs due diligence, registers with oversight agency, and stands up the human appeal capabilities. Then vendor developer ensures regulatory compliance, creates appeal interfaces, acquires insurance, and undergoes third-party testing. Now, deployer for the broken down into three subcategories: testing, auditing companies, insurance companies, and universities. So, testing or auditing companies provide third-party independent testing. Insurance companies develop corporate AIDM insurance products, and universities train professionals in AI validity, litigation, regulatory compliance, and human appeals. Now, due diligence is a continuous process across the AI system's entire lifecycle. We first have pre-deployment, where a developer trains on rules, registers with the government agency, performs initial testing for harm, bias, and discrimination, then systems for continuous impact monitoring, insurance for possible harms, and public feedback period for government AI. Then we have the deployment when this AI system is live. So contractual guarantees of compliance with anti-discrimination laws, user interface for right to know and right to appeal, training of human appeal referees, periodic retraining and assessment of AI decision making, and then federal authority to order redeployment if harm is shown. Then retirement, public notification and recording of retirement, data archiving for a set period around 10 years to align with litigation periods. Now, the defining question for every society is how to balance competitiveness and ethics. So, the divergent parts of the European Union and China illustrate that there is no single answer. Each approach represents a different answer to the same fundamental question: what should take precedence, competitiveness or ethics? The governance models being built today will not only shape the future of technology, but will also become a defining expression for our societal values.